Women over 60, never accept any man who does these 5 things, or you will regret it. Dating after 60, senior romance, it's not only a second chapter. It's a totally new book with completely different rules. Today we are diving into 5 things no woman over 60 should ever accept from a man, regardless of how attractive he looks, regardless of how lonely the nights have been. Because these aren't merely dating tips. They're boundaries that can mean the difference between your peace of mind and your agony. Something changes deep inside us as we age. In our earlier years, we made excuses for rudeness. We believed love could soothe a man's rough edges. But after 60, the math changes, time gets more valuable, energy gets more limited, and you just can't afford to spend your senior years in relationships that chip away at your soul. This is particularly true if you've once walked through the fire, whether it was separation and divorce, being widowed, or decades spent giving more than you received. Life after 60 should be about regaining your value, not compromising it again in the name of love. If you've ever wondered if something you're experiencing is a red flag or just you being too sensitive, this message is for you, because there are some behaviors that no gentleman will ever show and no wise woman should ever tolerate. Before we begin, please let me know where you are watching from. It will be great to feel closer, regardless of how we are physically apart. Also, don't forget to like and comment on how you feel about this topic. Now let's get started. Number 1, never tolerate disrespect disguised as honesty. Did you know that approximately 70% of women over 60 admit they've kept mute in relationships to maintain peace? Not because they were unsure of themselves, but because they were made to wonder if their hurt was real in the first place. It usually starts with a man who says something like, "Don't take it so personally," or, "I'm just being sincere." But what he's actually doing is hiding harsh words inside gentle ones. And dating after 60, that kind of concealed disrespect might be more dangerous since it comes wrapped in charm and experience. I remember Elizabeth, a woman from my walking group, sharp mind, beautiful smile. She lost her spouse years earlier and eventually opened her heart again. She met a man through her library club, well-read, focused, and hilarious. But the compliments began to bend. He told her, "You're beautiful even if you're not quite petite," or, "You ramble a little, but it's cute." Things that sound innocent until you hear them again and again. Each time, I noticed her shrinking slightly, laughing off what clearly hurt, sitting a bit calmer at lunch, and straightening her hair more frequently than she used to. I noticed the glow fade, not all instantly, but like a bulb on low power. This is what disrespect masked as honesty does. It doesn't storm in. It seeps. It teaches you to tolerate less while pretending it's love. A gentle man doesn't use reality as a weapon. He doesn't talk in ways that bruise and then blame you for bleeding. Genuine honesty makes you feel safe even though it's uncomfortable. And for women over 60, particularly those who are learning to love again after loss or loneliness, this means more than ever. You've done your part. You've come too far. There is no age at which you should have to justify why your worth counts. After 60, you don't owe anybody your silence, not for peace, not for companionship, or for someone who believes being harsh is being sincere. Number 2, never tolerate financial exploitation or control. They say love is about trust. But when trust is one-sided and tied to money, it's no longer trust. It's in control with a smile on its face. For women over 60, this transpires more frequently than we'd like to admit. A man provides financial support, takes charge of managing finances, or says he's saving you from stress. But behind the surface, something else is happening. Your financial clarity starts to blur, and gradually, you stop asking questions, perhaps out of respect, perhaps out of fear of sounding ungrateful. But here's the reality, true love never asks you to give up your independence. The Roman philosopher Seneca once said, "A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver." If the intention is power, not partnership, then it's not a gift, it's a leash. The majority of senior dating stories involve women shifting over control of their finances just because someone looked stable or kind. But integrity doesn't come with strings, and kindness, if it's genuine, never comes at the cost of your voice or your access to your own life. Financial control could at first seem to be kind. But it's not about how much is shared, it's about whether you still have an equal say and equal respect. It's never too late to master the language of finance, to know your rights, and to set clear boundaries around what you've built and what you appreciate. Love can develop in the heart, but security develops in transparency. Number 3, never accept isolation from your support network. Sometimes it whispers things like, "They don't truly understand you like I do," or, "Why do you need someone else when you have me?" And in senior dating, particularly for women over 60 seeking connection, such statements might sound romantic at first. But gradually, they pull you away from the individuals who keep you grounded. I'll never forget my friend Diana. Widowed in her early 60s, she met a man online who claimed to bring happiness back into her life. Initially, we were happy for her, she lit up again. But little by little, we noticed less of her. She stopped going to Sunday brunch. Didn't answer calls as regularly. She told us he just wanted more of her time, and she didn't want to offend him. A couple of months later, she said something that gave me chills: "He doesn't really enjoy it when I talk to people from my past. He claims it keeps me from being present." That's when I realized it wasn't love, it was solitude. That's how it occurs. You start reducing your life down to fit into another person's frame. Friends disappear. Hobbies vanish. Even your voice gets softer. And for women over 60, particularly those who are discovering love after many years of caregiving or sorrow, this type of subtle control may be extremely difficult to detect since it's wrapped in attention. True love doesn't ask you to go away. It encourages more of you to show up. It doesn't make your world smaller, it slowly expands it with room for everyone and anything that's important to you. Number 4, never accept emotional manipulation or guilt. In long-term research on mental health, women over 60 who felt manipulated in relationships weren't always aware of what had really happened to them. They simply claimed to be drained, confused, or not like themselves anymore. That's the issue about guilt, it doesn't arrive like a disagreement. It sneaks in as self-doubt. In senior dating, this kind of emotional manipulation usually wears a mask of love: "I just miss you whenever you're not around." Or, "It just hurts when you put others before me." Initially, it could feel like love trying to hold on, but soon you discover it's something else completely. It's love trying to take over. And for women over 60, particularly those with lifelong practices of caregiving, the change might be difficult to spot. You've spent years tending to other people, therefore, when someone pulls at your heartstrings, you react from instinct, not because you're vulnerable, but because you're kind. One of the obvious signs of emotional manipulation is that you start feeling bad just for having needs. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The closer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." But a manipulative man keeps you emotionally insecure, so you remain distracted and off balance. He counts on your understanding becoming your silence. But life after 60 should be the contrary of that. It should be steady and calm. You've done great work. You've built your resilience. You've earned your right to emotional comfort. You don't owe someone else your constant availability. You don't have to show your love through hardship. And you are never accountable for fixing another person's emotional weather. Love isn't guilt. Love is peace. 5. Never tolerate disregard for your health and well-being. What kind of man stays close when you're not at your best, not when you're dressed up and happy, but when you're exhausted, when you're in distress, when you forget something, when your body needs to slow down? I remember a friend of mine, Barbara, 71, intelligent as ever, but managing chronic arthritis. She met a man after relocating to a new retirement home. At first glance, he appeared attentive, even charming. But the more time they spent together, the more apparent it became, he was only interested when she was cheerful. The instant she mentioned a bad flare-up or wanted to cancel a walk, he'd say things like, "Don't make your health your whole personality," or, "You just need to push through it." She began suppressing her pain simply to avoid hearing that tone in his voice, until one day she fell while trying to keep up with him on a hike because she hadn't felt comfortable saying that she needed a slower pace. Because elderly romance isn't about pretending you're still 40. It's about finding a person who values the phase of life you're truly in, body, mind, and soul. Your health isn't a burden. It's part of your reality. And any relationship that makes you feel like your physical needs, your changing body, or your boundaries are too much is not one founded on love. It's built on performance. True love listens. It slows down when you do. It waits without resentment.